When does a parent ruin your life and then come crawling back for help? I lived with my mom alone since I was 14. My parents had split up after years of arguing, and I got used to that mess pretty quick. I thought every family was like that. After the divorce, my dad moved to France, started a new life, and even a new family, or so I heard. I stayed with my mom. She remarried a wealthy businessman who already had grown kids, twins, 2 years older than me. We moved into this huge fancy house full of expensive stuff that only rich folks have. You'd think my life would improve, but it didn't. Every day, I wished I had gone with my dad instead. My mom hardly cared about me. Sometimes, she wouldn't show up for days, probably forgot I existed. She cared only about her fancy parties, expensive clothes, and living off her husband's money. Money was everything to her. Meanwhile, I was starting my sophomore year in high school feeling awkward and lonely, with no real friends. I got bullied all the time, suffered from depression and anorexia, and no one, not even my mom, seemed to notice. Living with my step-siblings wasn't any better. My stepsister Jane loved making me feel small, reminding me I didn't belong and calling my mom a gold digger. She'd trip me, push me around, and when I complained, my mom took Jane's side, telling me to be quiet. "What do you want, to ruin this good life for us?" she'd say, like she was the one living the good life. My stepbrother Jake mostly ignored me, which was fine by me, but no one cared about how I felt. The only person who seemed to care was my stepdad's brother, Isaac. He was always smiling and acting like a typical player, but for some reason, he paid attention to me. He showed up often, tried to talk to me, which made me uncomfortable. He promised he'd talk to my mom about my eating issues and how bad things were for me. That promise kept me close to him since I needed help badly, and my mom ignored me. She thought as long as she gave me money every month, I'd be okay. When I was in 12th grade, my mom and her husband had their 5-year anniversary at home. Jane and Jake were at college by then, so I was the only kid there. On that day, Isaac lured me to a guest room, saying he wanted to check on me, and then he assaulted me. I don't remember much, only that it happened multiple times and I passed out from shock. When I woke up, I was in my room with my mom sitting beside me, looking worried, something I had never seen from her before. She knew. She changed my clothes and asked if I was okay. I cried, told her everything, and she just patted my head, said it would be fine, then pulled out a new dress and told me to get dressed fast for a family photo. My stepdad was waiting. I couldn't believe she cared more about appearances than my health. I tried to refuse, but I was too weak. She made me wear the dress and go downstairs with them. I cried the whole time, but my mom kept telling me to smile, wipe my tears, act normal. My legs shook, I hurt all over, but she stood there smiling with Isaac, pretending everything was fine. There were many people at the event. When it was time for me to give a speech for my parents, I saw Isaac smile at me once, and I snapped. I screamed about what he did, about being assaulted, and about how my mom didn't care. I was about to tell everyone there when some people pulled me away, and then my mom dragged me back inside. Once out of sight, she slapped me and yelled that I didn't know what I'd done. She kept worrying about what people would say, mostly about her husband and not upsetting him. I couldn't believe my mom was like this. As she scolded me, my stepdad came in angry, grabbed me by the dress, and beat me in front of her. She just looked away. After bruising me up, he told me to pack my bags and leave. He called me a liar and manipulative, said I was never happy with a good life and just trying to ruin him by accusing his innocent brother. That night, after everyone left, I was kicked out. I became homeless, moving from shelter to shelter just to find a place to sleep and eat. Somehow, I barely finished high school, but I did it. I had my mother's phone number, but she never called me once. After weeks on my own, I found a job at a fast food place. I saved up enough money to pay for college application fees. My coworkers and boss were kind and helped me out when I needed it. After I got attacked at a shelter and ended up with a black eye, they even let me sleep in the back room at the restaurant. I worked hard, took extra jobs, and somehow managed to get accepted into the University of Chicago with a full scholarship and financial aid. I used every penny I had to buy a plane ticket. It was tough, but I made it. Once there, I took campus jobs to support myself. I was doing okay. I tried to leave my past behind, the hurt, my mother, everything, and focused on building a new life. I went to free therapy sessions, and that helped a lot. I started dealing with my eating disorder, little by little. Then, in my last semester of sophomore year, I ran into Jake, my stepbrother. It surprised us both. He didn't expect to see me there. He invited me for coffee, and I said yes. It had been 3 years since I left, and Jake told me he found out what happened when he visited home last time. He was sorry I had to go through all that. I was shocked he wasn't siding with our father or stepfather. Turns out, Jake wasn't a bad guy. He told me about his sister Jane, how she had an accident last year and was now in a wheelchair at the hospital. He said their dad's business was failing, and that he and my mother got divorced. Jake said he left that family for good after graduating and was starting fresh in Chicago. The only person he kept in touch with was his sister. I couldn't believe how much had changed. Jake apologized a lot, and I held no grudge. He took my number, and we planned to meet for lunch. When that day came, Jake brought his friend Thomas with him. Thomas was a psychologist, a year older than me. Jake asked him to help me with free therapy sessions to finally face my trauma and eating disorder. That's when I started seeing Jake as family. We had both grown up, and I was thankful for his help. I got close to Thomas too, and we eventually started dating. Sadly, Jane passed away after months of fighting. I didn't go to the funeral. I didn't want to see anyone from that family, including my mom. Jake understood. I worked hard in school and graduated with a degree in finance. Then Thomas proposed. I said yes. We got married soon after, with Jake as the best man and his fiancée as my bridesmaid. For a surprise, Thomas tracked down my dad and flew him in from France for the reception. I was overwhelmed with emotion when I saw him. Turns out, he'd been trying to reach me all those years, but my mother blocked him. I met his wife and family. For the first time in a long time, I felt happy and at peace. Thomas and I bought a house near Jake. He and his fiancée helped set it up quickly. One day, Thomas and Jake went out, and I was home alone with Jake's fiancée. I was a few months pregnant then. She offered to help around the house, and we were in the kitchen when the doorbell rang. I opened it, and there stood my mother, looking a mess. I was stunned and couldn't speak at first. She tried to hug me, but I stepped back. All the anger I'd buried for years rushed back. She cried on my doorstep, begging for forgiveness. She said her husband divorced her, she lost everything, was homeless, and had nowhere to go until she heard I was doing well. But she never apologized for what she did to me or what I suffered. She was still selfish, only showing up because she needed something. When she asked to stay, I laughed. I told her karma had caught up with her, her ex-husband, and soon, Isaac. I made it clear she was not part of my life, only my husband, our unborn child, my brother and his soon-to-be wife, and my dad were. She was a stranger, and I wanted her off my property immediately. She even tried to call me an ungrateful daughter. When she refused to leave, I called the police and watched them take her away, far from me.